for being here, everybody. Thank you for being here. And as I said, and one of the things I say full-heartedly, the people that show up are the people that really are the ones that are looking to move to that next level. And I say that to you because as a real estate agent broker for 28 plus years, and having my own offices, mortgage, escrow, real estate, auction offices.
You have to turn it to the little
I always
turn it on.
see the common denominator on the successful agents are the ones who showed up. It was like clockwork. Now you always have some exceptions to the rule that because they have business and they do things a little bit differently, that they don't usually show up because they have a little different market. But I would say that in general, the individuals that show up are the doers, and the ones that don't are the sayers. And what I mean by the sayers are that on a broker, manager, team leader point of view, that the ones that give you more of the headaches are the ones that do nothing. Because they got time in their hands to complain. The ones that are doing something don't got time. You're out there hustling. So with that said, don't want to preach to you guys. I just want to commend you and say, good job. Thank you for being here. This is what it takes, you guys. This is what it takes to get to that next level. I know a lot of you don't see me here very often, but I'm in classes pretty much every week or every other week learning. I'm on a webinar. I'm at a presentation. I'm sitting down reading. One of the big things that we're doing right now is we're getting geared up for the Dodd-Frank bill. The Dodd-Frank bill, QM, is the next big hit. And it's going to play a major role in the industry on the loan side, which you're saying, well, Fabian, that's on the loan side. Well, no, it isn't. It's on your side, because if you can't get a loan for your buyer, what difference does your buyer make? And you better understand what buyers qualify for what programs, because a lot of these lenders don't even know what's going on. The biggest problem that we've had as an industry for many years is that we've taken for granted that our partners that we utilize should know what they're doing. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, and in part the reason that's one of the biggest mistakes is because many agents don't use true practitioners that are professionals. They use their friends. They use family members, or they use somebody who's giving them a kickback. And what I always say is stop tripping over the dollars to get to the nickels, because that's what you're getting. Because a lot of times when your strategic partners don't earn your business, they take your business for granted. Like, oh, what's my friend over? I'll get the loan next week. Oh, the appraisal will be done next week. Oh, I'll get this next week, because you have a relationship. You need to start engaging now with partners that really know what they're doing. Partners that bring value to you. I've seen individuals lose deals because they went out and referred a loan and they were going to get like $300 or $400. And I thought to myself, and I had told this agent, I said, you're going to lose the loan, because just talking to your loan rep, I could tell he didn't know what he was doing based on the situation of the transaction. Sure enough, they lost the loan. And I said, you lost a $5,000 commission for a $300 referral fee. I hope you learn from your mistakes. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to learn plays a major role in the industry, plays a major role in your advancement and progression of business. But you have to understand that's only one part of it. The other part is having your partnerships with the right companies. Having the right ships with the right companies, ladies and gentlemen, is going to make your job easier, especially in the market moving forward. It's going to get tougher. When I mean tougher, I mean more complex. What I mean is more consuming of your time. The market that's coming is going to be very fruitful for the agents who are very engaged, that know what they're doing. Because you're going to say, when you get into a situation, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that. Things are going to click. They may not be clicking right now because you're not in that situation. But I will guarantee you, like the sun rises tomorrow, that a lot of what you're learning today, within the next 5 to 6 months, all this is going to start hitting your desk when it comes to a transaction. Because it is on its way. It is already here. It's just that it hasn't touched your desk yet. At least not here. Other offices that I speak to, other events that I do, I'm already hearing what's going on. It's already hitting. I sat down yesterday, I'll give you an example. I sat down yesterday with the modification company that does very well. And I just wanted to kind of get their take on what they're doing, what kind of marketing campaigns, and so forth and so on. They got something like 700 files, okay? And the irony was that they're a pretty legitimate company, to be quite honest with you. They don't take any money up front. They tell you within 48 to 72 hours if there's anything they can do for you. And as I said in my presentations, and I will continue to say in the presentations, that these are the type of partners, not necessarily that person or that company, but I'm just speaking in general. These are the type of partners that you need to have, because a lot of your clients, when you sit with them in the distressed market, they're not ready for a sale yet. They still think they can get a modification. And you're not gonna change their mind even though you give them the presentation. There's gonna be some, let me retract that, there's gonna be some that once you give them the full presentation, that we will train you on doing, they will change it because they see the economic benefit of not modifying. You with me? Some of them are just gonna say, no, I want it. And that's just the way it is. But the key element is this, when you have consumers at that state of mind, don't try to convince them, don't try to manipulate them, steer them, or sell them. Say, not a problem. I have a company that can qualify you for free. I have a company that's legitimate. I have a company that will let you know within 48 or 72 hours if you qualify or not. See, when it doesn't come from you, there's a sense of credibility. There's a sense of professionalism. See, if you try to be the lender, the escrow officer, the modification, the attorney, the CPA, you're a jack of all trades and you're the master of none. And the problem you have is that now you become a salesperson because now you're selling it. Because now you're trying to give them advice on issues that's not what you do. You're not the specialist. You're not a CPA. You shouldn't be talking about taxes. Although you should know about them. You know, everybody right now, I'll give you an example. Everybody right now is talking about the Forgiveness Act. Okay? That it's going away. I know Mr. Horn is out there saying that it's going away and that's how he's getting people to his places. We don't know this for certain, but we're about 95% sure that bill is already in Congress Assembly bill. That it's going to pass, it's going to be extended. It's already in the Assembly bill to get passed. Because government will not create programs for the next 5 years and put that away. Now the state one, we'll see. We won't know till next year. That's SB 30. Okay? And that's a byproduct of SB 39. That the Assembly and the local state representatives say, well, we'll pass SB 30, which is tax forgiveness on a state level to the Franchise State Board, but you got to give us 39, which has nothing to do with real estate. But it's politics. Okay?
Give or take, huh?
So, but the problem that you have is this. Do you know that under that SB 30, under the Forgiveness Act, it really only benefits non-owner occupied and individuals who lived in a property less than 2 years? Because under the insolvency, the 1099-C, you have 250 as an individual, as a write-up as capital gains, and up to 500,000 write-ups on capital gains. So if you've been living in your home for over 2 years, you already get that. But see, everybody's using it out there as a marketing campaign. You better do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. You can use it. But just understand what you're saying, because if any of you ever did a presentation to me and use that at me, I will break you down 20 different ways from Sunday. Because I know what I'm talking about. See, you cannot assume no longer that the consumers are going to listen to everything you say and believe it. Because the consumers probably know a lot more than the agents today. Because they're on the computer looking up everything. It's funny because I can sit with consumers and I would dare to say that probably 50% of the time, if not more, those consumers know just as much as the agent, if not more. They know who their neighbors are, who's in distress, what their neighbor sold their house for, what this, what that. They got in line, they know a lot of these programs, and the thing is that a lot of these sellers that are really interested in moving forward with you, they're probing you. They're asking you questions to see what reply you give them. To see if you're BSing them, or if you really know what you're talking about, or you're exaggerating. There's a very fine line between BS and exaggeration. Okay? There's no need for you to do that when you have the knowledge. You may not have all the questions, you may not have all the answers to every question, and that's okay, you're not a professor. But at that particular juncture, you have to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't have the right information for you right now. Allow me to get that information and get back to you later on today. But that's a great question. See, what you've done is you let them know, look, I'm human, I don't know everything, but I will get you the right information. But when you come out, I've seen so many agents, and I do this purposely when I speak. I probe agents, especially the ones that tend to want to challenge you. And Carlos has seen me do that to people. When and it's not a competition or a test, it's just feedback. And when you start getting individuals who start talking, I already know what questions to ask, and just by the reply, I know how much they know. The point that I'm making to you, the sellers are at that level to some degree themselves. So be very careful on what you say to them. Especially homeowners, again, in distress. Because they've been lied to for so long, the last thing they want to get is somebody else coming and lying to them again. And this is why it's so important that you guys understand this. And you can say, Fabian, what does this have to do with everything? What does that have to do with the programs? It has everything. Because what I'm talking to you about right now is what gets the door open. Now, once the door's open, now you go You do your presentation. Now your professionalism comes in. Your knowledge. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
But if that door doesn't open, it'll make a difference if you have the cure for cancer. So what? Who cares? You're not getting in. And that's the key element, getting in. So, with that said, is there any questions before we get started?
Let me go back a bit. You said what benefits the homeowner after or under 2 years and the
Well, you become insolvent. You have insolvency and
Which
insolvency.
bill is that? Is that the SB 30 or?
No, that's just the Forgiveness Act.
Okay.
That's under the Forgiveness Act. And that what that does, it helps non-owner, and it helps individuals that have owned the property for less than 2 years, because that isn't going to the capital gains rules.
Yeah.
But if you have the capital gains
Anything over
rules,
2, they're already protected.
everything over,
Right.
on the primary,
Right.
only on the primary. Okay,
That
so
makes
you,
sense, okay.
correct. So that's why right now people are rushing, and I think that it's really a bad thing that people say you better hurry up because it's going away. Nobody should be saying that because nobody really knows that it's going to go away. You should say the probabilities are high that this program will go away by the end of the year, so act now. That's great, you're not lying. But when you're out there saying it's going away, you're making a very bold statement.
I use the word may because
Yeah.
it's like the bank said,
Correct.
you may be
Correct.
1099.
But I see agents out there right now putting the program is going away. Take advantage. So let's say this. What was your name? I'm sorry. Yeah. Maria. Maria goes out there and puts her marketing campaign out there, and she sells 2 homes. And the reason she sold her 2 homes by the end of the year is because one of the sellers was concerned about that Forgiveness Act. He wasn't really 100% ready to sell the home, but he did it because of the capital gains. So what happens is next year, right around January, February, that happened, I'm giving you a true scenario about this. You remember last year when people were out there saying it was going to end in 2012?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you had this one agent that was sending out this marketing campaign. I won't say the name who it is, but he's sitting right next to you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. See his guilty conscience? He looks and goes, me? They went out and did a marketing campaign. And this particular person, Vince Nobody here, said, act now because the program is going away. So you had a seller who sold his home, right? April, when he engaged again, he saw that 2 things happened. Number 1, it was extended, and number 2, his property appreciated by $40,000. Okay, because last year the market shot up, right? He sued the agent. And his D&O settled, so we don't know what it was. But he sued the agent for misrepresentation. Because he said, the only reason I sold this property is because you said that this program was over. Had I not had to sell the property, I took advantage of the appreciation that my neighbor just got. He won the case. And it wasn't because of the appreciation. It was because of what's called truth in lending. Truth in advertising. You have to watch what you say. And he said it is going away. He didn't say it may go away. He said the program is going away. Act now or lose your opportunity forever.
Oh,
That's
false advertising.
Now I can go through your marketing campaigns and I can tell you I can find maybe 3 or 4 different things that you guys should be saying.
I just put, ask about the program, just saying dates, right?
So you gotta be very careful. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is because when you go talk to these individuals, when you go under distress and you have these flyers, like on the flyer that we have, the flyer that they gave you, where it says, act now, limited, this is unlimited time only. But we're not putting that it's over today or tomorrow. We're just saying limited time only.
Yeah,
That
eventually it's gonna be over anyway.
Yeah. Limited time means limited.
Right.
Like I know, for example, the Freddie Mac Fannie Mae Modification Streamline Initiative, that's not over to August 1st, 2017. The Homeowner Bill of Rights, that's not over until January 31st of 2018.
That's good.
December 31st of 2018. Under the HAPA and all these different programs, they're, if the ones that still exist, they're not over for another couple of years in 2017, or 15 actually. Which I'm sure they'll be extended again. So the key, the point of the matter is never quote dates. Never say over. Because we don't know that. We don't know that. In your marketing campaigns and also the way you speak, don't get nervous, don't get caught up on trying to corner them. Because that's what agents do. They try to corner the seller to the point they say, okay, I have to now. See, there's a very big difference between somebody wanting to list and sell and somebody having to. It's a very, very different mentality. Very different mentality. I'm sure all of you see that when you do your listing presentations. You can see in the body language. You can tell. That's one of the key elements that I would say to all of you. Look at the body language. Look at the way they're looking at you, the tone of their voice. Are there high or low notes? Are they sitting back like this? The first thing is this. That's their defense mechanism when they cross their arms.
No.
Okay? Number two, remember when you're doing a presentation in their home, they're in their own private Idaho. They're in their comfort zone. They're the master of their realm. So you got to be very sensitive in how you speak to them. Because they're saying, I feel good about where I'm at. Now, when you get them to the office, their whole body language. I would say to you that usually your sellers in their home will probably sit more like this. In here, they're going to be like this. Because they're out of their realm. They're out of their comfort zone. Okay? These are little indications to you if you're losing them or you're bringing them in. Always focus on their body language, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot speak about body language enough. That's a whole different class in totality. But the body language is very paramount. And what I mean by that is that it shows you, it's an indicator, if you will, if you should continue on the subject that you're talking about, or should you change it. If you see him that he's no longer engaged, change the subject. Start asking questions to where he starts to engage, or she starts to engage, because you're losing them. And once you lose them, it's very difficult to get them back. And you only got one chance to make a first impression. If you don't, and I hate to use the word, close them, at least in that first meeting, chances are that you're not. You have to be able to, it doesn't mean you have to get a listing that day. The key is to let them allow you to come back to their home to do the full presentation. Are you guys aware of what I mean by that? Because remember we talked about the initial engagement. Okay? The initial engagement is, good afternoon, my name is Fabian Casares. I'm a local community advocate. I'm here to provide you state and federal information on how possibly you or some family members and some neighbors that you may know that are losing their home, that provide you foreclosure prevention, homeowner retention programs. These programs are free to you, and we are here informing the communities that we're here to provide this information for you if you should need it. As I mentioned, my name is Fabian Casares. All the different programs, state and federal programs, are on the flyer. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me. And as I mentioned, it's free to you. That's it. Now, if they're interested, they're going to say, well, what do you mean about state and federal programs? He goes, yes, you've got Keep Your Home California, you've got the Hardest Hit Fund, as it states here in the flyer. Keep referring to the flyer. Okay, refer to the programs, not to you. Refer to them. Okay, you want to take you out of the equation because you want to make this as your opportunity. I am just the mediator of the opportunity to you. Does that make sense? If you recall, when, for those of you that have been in my presentations, I don't consider myself a salesperson. I consider myself a mediator of opportunity. I bring a ready, willing, able buyer and a ready, willing, able seller, and I put together an opportunity of a transaction. I'm only a service provider. That's all I do. I don't sell, convince, and manipulate. I'm a provider of information. There's a very big difference. Because when individuals tell me, you're selling, I say, I ain't selling anything. I'm here to provide you a service. That's all I do. Very different, because there's no pitch. Would you agree with me on that? There's no pitch. People are tired of pitches, okay? Revert to the flyer. When you walk up, always point to the programs, not to you. You're a byproduct of it. You're only here to provide them the information of it. $25,000 reinstatement, up to $100,000 principal reduction, up to 12 months unemployment program assistance to make your mortgage payments for the next 12 months. And I'm going to get you the new directive. There's a new program coming out that will pay their mortgages for up to 21 months.
If you qualify.
If you qualify, correct. Absolutely. I was getting that. I was getting there.
Is it like the unemployment one?
It is. This is a government one. This is a direct government one right now. The unemployment one is for CalHAP, the byproduct of the hardest hit funds. This is coming out something different. Now, how many of you are current events? For those of you not, you know that Chase just got sued for $13 billion. The highest settlement ever. And that was not because of the robo-signing or participation agreement. That was because they were selling loans in the secondary market that were bad loans. So those are the ones that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Now they're even going to go after them for they got it for punitive, they got it for civil, now they're going to go after criminal. So it's not over. They're going to make examples out of people, and they got Chase. Now they said that Chase kind of gave in. Well, they gave in because it was going to be a hell of a lot more than $13 billion. And they say that that's just the beginning. There's still going to be more after that. What that means now, that they got enough to start going after Wells Fargo, B of A, Citibank, GMAC, Ally. They're gonna go after everybody, Guild Bank, all these